Hey all, it's Nim or Nimicry if you're feeling professional, and welcome to the YouTube video. Now today we're going to answer the question, why melee weapons feel good in Wayfinder. So, for those who have played Wayfinder, there are two ways to interact with the game, basically. I mean, it's technically three if you really want to get technical, but combat and collecting, right? You attack the things, you pick up the things, and then if you want to have a third one, you can say, okay, well, we'll explore. So, combat. Right? To fight, you need weapons, even if they're unarmed, even if you're unarmed and you're punching things, which hopefully there's a Wayfinder who likes to engage in fisticuffs. That would be probably pretty cool. But for now, Wingrave being my main, right? I'll pull this up here. We'll go to our characters, and we'll see Radiant Dawn is level 30, right? Max level, Radiant Dawn, Sword and Shield. And I've got Colossus, Epitaph, Grim Harvest, Radiant Dawn, there's Slicer Dicer, Tooth and Claw, Typhoon, and Vanguard. So those are all of my weapons. So as you can see, I have basically every Sword and Shield combo that I could find. And I've got a few, other things like Colossus, Epitaph, Slicer Dicer, things like that. So I'm a fan of the melee weapons first off. And I want to mention that this is not a critique of people who play with ranged weapons, right? I have seen Tempest do absolutely monstrous damage on late game playing. So this is not me being like, oh no, how dare you not, you're bad. It's how does it feel? So let's talk about feelings, right? When it comes to the weapons, the melee weapons specifically, I think they feel comfortable. I think they feel meaty, especially the heavy weapons. The sword and board, I feel like it has very quick slashes, and so what I'm going to do now is, now that I've asserted that, and we'll talk about how it feels, the skill interaction, and where I think we can go from there. So we'll cut the video, get into a dungeon, and talk about it a little bit more. Now that we're in a dungeon, I like melee weapons better. Generally, I think they're more responsive. I think they're easier to use. I think they provide more utility. That being said, firearms aren't bad, right? They're just a different style, and all the Wayfinders that I play as generally have melee abilities, so it makes sense to have melee weapons. Now, when we're talking about specific weapon types, such as the Sword and Shield, the Sword and Shield allows me to attack fast, attack slow, allows me to alternate between the two so that I can end up with ultimately more attacks per second, and it also allows me to block, and its weapon ability allows me to buff my damage and my allies' damage. I really like Sword and Shield, and I'm going to put that to the test here, along with my abilities. I could use a gun with Wingrave. There's nothing stopping me from using a gun with Wingrave, but it doesn't really make a lot of sense, seeing as how all of my attacks, for example, Righteous Smite, boom, that's in an arc in front of me. It's not a very wide arc. Judgment, that's in a short radius around me. Or I guess a small radius, to be more exact. My shield, that could be potentially used as a defense against ranged attacks, like it was just there with the Seer shooting an energy ball. And then, of course, my big bubble shield can be used with anything. So it doesn't, my favorite Wayfinder lends itself to melee weapons. So nice being able to do a little damage up for everybody in the party, which works out really well. And instead of being a AoE, or being close, I can, or instead of being single target, it's more AoE. I can hit more than one enemy with each sword fight. Alternating between. And there we go. See, it's simple. If I want to, I can block. So let's just show off the block. Oh, didn't count that. There's a parry. There we go. So that's that. Nice and easy. Do that, and we're behind me. And you see, again, all of my abilities draw me to melee. It doesn't matter what melee weapon I use. We'll go over the other ones here in a little while. But sword and board are my favorite. I like sword and board the most. Because it's fast, it's versatile, it buffs your allies, and it supports the class fantasy of my main, which is Wingrave. So we're going to cut it here after I kill this guy, and we're going to be back in with daggers and then then heavy weapons. Because those are basically the types. And we'll go from there. So ultimately, sword and board, my favorite. I think it feels good. It buffs your teammates, is versatile, and is easy to get into. Alright, so I decided to bring out Nis for the daggers, our second melee type. Now, the daggers are very fast. They build up damage, you can stack a buff, they're fantastic. There's a lot of nuance, actually, to the dagger play, more than the sword and shield. You can also parry with them, if you so desire. Oh, looks like we're in a trickster dungeon. I joined something randomly, so we'll see how this goes. But again, the benefit, though, to the daggers, again, versatility, ease of use, is that it actually stacks up twice as fast on your damage bonus for your melee weapons. So where you can go to, well, you do 10, this goes to 20. So instead of 200, it's 300% damage, which honestly is amazingly useful. And again, you'll notice the character that I'm using really does well with melee weapons. All of her abilities essentially are melee focused. And when I do this video for ranged weapons, I'll be mentioning Silo. Now, it seems like this guy, I joined way late in this particular dungeon run because I'm trying to find something that can show off. So here, let's start. So you use light attacks with daggers, right? You charge, you move, and you actually want to build up those 3 pips there. You can build up those 3 pips, then I can use that as a spender. Do that, boom, and there's a lot of damage. And what's great is the daggers are so versatile that I don't have to spend 3 pips. Depending on how many pips I spend, I will get extra abilities. Let's just finish that, and there's a nice flourish. Do that, and then once I trigger the weapon effect, at least of Slicer and Dicer, as a dagger effect, I will end up doing all of my weapon abilities will hit twice. As you can see, 6 hits at 160. So that keeps going. It has, though it starts with lower base damage than, say, a greatsword or a sword and shield, it does actually eventually become stronger if you keep up the damage. So let's just do this. I can do that. Yeah, see, we're right there. We're already at 10. Now, I am hurting, because I'm not used to playing with Nis. Hey, look, Nis is up to that. Proud of you. Let's not die. There's our knives. Ooh, I do hate Seer. Where is this other guy at, you know? I don't know where he's at, and I thought he'd be. Guess not. That's alright. I'm still worried about it. He's dead. And more fun stuff. Just keep doing that. And now, trigger the flash of knives. And everything, you'll notice how much damage. I'm literally becoming like a meat grinder with this person. It's fantastic. I do wish that that other guy would get here, but, you know, hey, whatever. That's the problem with randoms, right? I did start the dungeon a little randomly. Watch out for that. Abilities. And again, all of these abilities for Nis, the daggers would not work well for her if all of her abilities weren't tailored to being in melee range. Just do that. I'm just gonna keep on keeping on. There we go. And as you can see, already got. I'm just gonna keep tagging him until he wants to stop. Just start doing that. Ooh, that's not good. See? Ooh, not good. I swear, is there? Oh, there's a trickster. Okay. Hey, dude, you want to do the righteous thing or not? Okay, no, it's fine. Don't worry about that. Let me die. Gonna probably have to. Okay, good. I'm glad he's not letting me die. That's nice. That's nice. I'm working with that. I swear, it seemed like that was the first time he did that attack, and I'm just like, this is weird. I should probably use the regular. See, 260, 270, 280, 300. So we're at 300% damage, which ultimately, especially when doing those big flares and flourishes, you will end up with more damage than a sword and board. Daggers, very fast, very precise, very good if you're better with dodge timing. I could use some practice, to be honest. But let's go after this. We're going to go into our great swords, then I'll give my outro, and we'll wrap up the video. So here we are with Kyros and Epitaph, a heavy weapon. Now the heavy weapons all share the momentum special ability, where as you alternate attacks and you hit enemies, not only do you attack faster, but you get a chance to do more damage. Like that. So now my damage was up, and when you're not in combat, it fades fast. The attacks are a little slower than, say, the sword and shield, and a lot slower than the dagger, but they also hit like a Mack truck. As you can see, I am just absolutely mollywopping these things. And that's even before I get to the damage. And that, there we go. Now my damage is up for a little while, and just sent that guy flying. You can also block with heavy weapons, though it's not as efficient as blocking with a shield. You can't parry with heavy weapons that I'm aware of, unless they've made one that can parry. But this brings us to the end of the video, right? Like, why do I like melee weapons? Again, they're responsive. I'm good with them. I think they require less skill, which means I can focus on dodging and staying alive. And as you saw with this, I should probably focus on dodging and staying alive a little bit more. Firearms aren't bad. They're a different playstyle, and we'll go over that later. But ultimately, I think with the limited pool of Wayfinders that are out right now, and this is pre-Grendel, melee weapons are superior for the vast majority of players. Well, if you guys agree, disagree, let me know in the comments below. And if you like what I did, you like the video, go on and hit subscribe and do all those other things that YouTube says I should have you do. I'm bad at all the pushing of the algorithm stuff, so anything you do there helps out. This was a fun video to make, and I kind of did a little bit unscripted there, as you might tell, but it was just kind of raw thoughts as I was playing through. So, I'll see you in the next video, and may the thing that you're farming drop on the first instance of the content you're farming it.